I think it's really important to think in terms of tissue hydration as well, because when layers get stuck together over time, we talk about this kind of like releasing adhesion, or what most people would think of as knots in the muscles. We talked about this back in episode 6, so you can always go back and watch episode 6 where we talk about knots in a little bit more detail. But the knot that we feel in a muscle is really just where fascia has become dehydrated, layers have begun to stick together. And this is a broader sense now. Normally, when they talk about adhesion, they will mean, like, if we take a very strict medical sense,
Hmm.
we're talking about almost like scar tissue that forms after a surgical procedure.
Yes.
Those would be adhesions. Those are very common. Like
Abdominal
they do abdominal
adhesions.
adhesions. We see a lot of, yeah. Um, or like a, you know, if there was a gash or something like that, if there's like a wound,
Yeah.
you will oftentimes have adhesion that is really scar tissue.
Hmm.
This is taking it in a broader sense, where we'd say adhesion is where two structures that should be separate, and we could think of this as almost like sheets within the muscle,
Hmm.
sheets of connective tissue. When those sheets, they should be separate, they should be gliding. When they get stuck together, they adhere, they glue, they're stuck.
Hmm.
So if we can unstick those through stretching by creating that mobility,
Hmm.
we are hydrating and restoring glide, which will actually help to ease out those knots. Better still if treatment has really got most of that process going, and then stretching is really just maintaining
Hmm.
so the knots don't reform from lack of use.
But you were saying where you think of the ground substance nearly like wallpaper paste,
Mm.
and if it's left to sit, it'll go kind of hard and lumpy and dried out,
Yeah,
and that the effects of pumping, which will help to draw more fluid into the tissues, can rehydrate that ground
yeah.
substance. And then it starts the process of getting things softened up, able to free up, and then compression, heat, movement can.
The weird thing is the fascia wants to move. Well, okay, maybe that's assigning a property it doesn't have, it doesn't want, but the ground substance in the has a molecule in it called hyaluronic acid, which
A
we've
lot of
talked about
people
before.
know from skincare now.
Yeah, yeah, it's in a lot of skincare products, because what hyaluronic acid does is, it one of its functions is that it is hydrophilic, which means it draws fluid. So when I say it wants to move, once you start to get a little bit of motion into that,
Hmm.
if there's fluid in the area, the hyaluron will draw it in
Hmm.
so that it will rehydrate, like adding water into dried out wallpaper paste.
Yeah.
And you could add so much water that you dilute it to the point that it's almost flowing liquid.
Hmm.
It's hardly gel like at all at that stage,
Yeah.
that it is more nearly like water, but it
Hmm.
does have stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the importance of glide, because when those tissues get dehydrated, adhered, stuck together, they're not moving independently.
Mm.
But if there's nerves passing through those tissues, they can get tethered or caught, and that can start sensitizing the nerves